Here's what's coming up on today's show. I'm going to be reacting to Mel Kiper Jr.'s latest mock draft, this time featuring the first two rounds. So we'll get to see all three of the Texans' selections in those first two rounds. And what quarterback are the Texans going to take at number 2 overall? I think that's the big question that we're all asking here just a few weeks before the NFL draft. We'll tell you what Mel Kiper thinks. Speaking of the draft, we have a brand new NFL Draft YouTube channel here on Chat Sports, so go check it out. A lot more draft content over there. That's the sublink right there, youtube.com/chatnfl. H-Town, welcome into Texans Today by Chat Sports. I am Will Scott here. We are just a few weeks away from the NFL Draft, and we have a new mock draft from Mel Kiper Jr. We're going to tell you who he thinks the Texans are going to take at number 2 overall, number 12 overall, and number 33 overall in the NFL Draft. And we begin with the 2nd overall pick. And I think the Texans are going to take whoever the Panthers do not take out of Bryce Young and C.J. Stroud. And Mel Kiper has Bryce Young mocked to the Panthers at number 1 overall. Most mock drafts that I'm seeing actually have Stroud to Carolina, but Mel Kiper thinks that Young is going to the Panthers, which would mean C.J. Stroud falls to the Houston Texans at number 2 overall. That is who Kiper has the Texans selecting with the number 2 overall pick in the NFL Draft. Here's what he said about the selection. There's not much buzz about the quarterback Houston would prefer in this class, but I have little doubt new head coach DeMeco Ryans is going to get one here. This class of Panthers is just too strong at the top. As I've mentioned before, the Texans need a face of the franchise to sell their rebuild to fans. Stroud is a smooth thrower with advanced mechanics in a 6'3" frame. He has all the tools to be an all-pro passer except for the talent around him. That's where Houston, who also has the number 12 overall pick in this draft, needs to help. So C.J. Stroud going to the Texans here according to Mel Kiper Jr.'s latest mock draft. And I would be fine with this pick. Would I prefer Bryce Young? Yes, but C.J. Stroud also a great pick here at number 2 overall. Who do you prefer, though? Bryce Young or C.J. Stroud? A polarizing question amongst Texans fans, it feels like. Type BY for Bryce Young or CJ for CJ Stroud down in the comment section. It is the pinned comment on today's video. So when ad break comes, go down, chime in, pick a QB, Bryce Young or CJ Stroud. I'm honestly fine with either. Like I said earlier, I think I'd prefer Bryce Young, but CJ Stroud is certainly not a bad consolation prize. Now, where I would have a problem is if the Texans, let's say that front office really wants Bryce Young, and it's Bryce Young or bust, and they pass on C.J. Stroud for a defensive player or Will Levis or Anthony Richardson. That's a nightmare scenario. If Bryce Young is off the board, take C.J. Stroud, it should be an easy decision for Nick Caserio and that Texans front office. At least I hope it would be. Anthony Richardson, meanwhile, number 3 overall to the Tennessee Titans. So look at that. Couple of new division rivals there. Will Levis to the Colts and Anthony Richardson to Tennessee. Now, Kiper has Tennessee trading up with the Cardinals for Richardson, and then Will Levis, number 4 overall to the Colts. So 4 quarterbacks taken here with the top 4 picks in the NFL Draft. And we're going to continue to have you covered with Texans draft content, so be sure to subscribe to the channel. The more subs we get, the more content you guys get. Win-win. So be sure to subscribe for more Houston Texans draft content just a couple weeks from the 2023 NFL Draft. Let's move now to the Texans pick at number 12 and see the picks leading up to that 12th overall selection. Jalen Carter here, mocked to the Seahawks. Could see a scenario that happens. Could also see a scenario that he falls because of the baggage that he certainly brings into this draft. Will Anderson Jr., number 6 overall to the Lions. That would be a steal if he falls to number 6. Devin Witherspoon, number 7 to the Raiders. Nolan Smith, number 8 to the Atlanta Falcons. His stock has risen significantly after that combine. He was probably not even be a first-round pick. Now he's a potential top 10 pick. Darnell Wright, number 9 overall to the Bears. They're probably going to be looking to draft an offensive lineman Peter Skoronski, meanwhile, falling to number 10 at the Eagles, them taking him. And then Tyree Wilson, the edge rusher from Tech, could be a top 5 pick, also could fall out of the top 10. Kiper has him going 11th overall to the Arizona Cardinals, which brings us to the Texans pick at number 12. And it is Ohio State wide receiver Jaxson Smith-Njigba, the pick at number 12 overall for the Houston Texans. Here's what Mel Kiper said about JSN to H-Town. This is the Texans' chance to take their pick of the wide receivers in this class, and we know Smith-Njigba can be a star with C.J. Stroud throwing him passes. What's not to like about this combo? Smith-Njigba has number 1 wideout potential, and he's coming off a lost season because of a hamstring injury. He caught 5 passes and ran 42 routes during the entire 2022 campaign. He showed he was healthy at the combine, and I feel comfortable putting him in this range in round 1. So Mel Kiper Jr. has C.J. Stroud and JSN reunited in the 7-1-3. That would be a lot of fun to watch that duo who we saw excel at the collegiate level do the same at the NFL, in the NFL as well. Look, if it's JSN, Addison, Quinn Johnson, whoever, I don't really care. All I care about is a wide receiver needs to be the pick at number 12. You need to have a wide receiver be that pick to strengthen that wide receiver room for whoever you take at number 2. Could be Stroud, could be Young, whoever that quarterback is, they're going to need a star wide receiver from this class. I think I'd prefer Addison, but if JSN is the pick here, especially if you reunite him with C.J. Stroud, I would not be against that in the slightest. Who do you want the Texans to draft at number 12 overall? Let me know down in the comments section. It does not have to be a wide receiver. I certainly prefer a wide receiver, but if you prefer maybe a defensive player, offensive line, whoever, let me know down in the comments section. Let's fast forward to the end of the first round now before we get into the Texans selection in round 2. DJ Turner, the cornerback out of Michigan, going to the Giants. Michael Mayer falling all the way to pick 26 here to be the Dalton Schultz replacement in Dallas. Trenton Simpson, the Clemson linebacker, his stock has certainly risen here, going number 27 overall to Buffalo. And then Brian Bryce, the Clemson defensive tackle, number 28 overall to Cincinnati. So back-to-back Clemson guys there. Kalijah Kancey going number 29 overall to New Orleans, the defensive tackle out of Pitt. Hendon Hooker, first-round selection here, going to Seattle, number 30 overall. And then Will McDonald, the edge rusher out of Iowa State, number 31 overall to Kansas City. Second round now, Anton Harrison, the offensive tackle out of Oklahoma, number 32 overall to Pittsburgh, which brings us to pick number 33. The third selection of this draft for the Houston Texans, and it is Kansas State edge Felix Anudike-Uzomah being selected here with the 33rd overall selection, who had a fantastic career at Kansas State and a fantastic season with the Big 12 champ Wildcats. 46 tackles, 11 tackles for loss, 8.5 sacks, 2 forced fumbles on the season for Felix Anudike-Uzomah. Taking a look at this Texans defensive line, it can certainly be improved. You did sign Sheldon Rankins, but adding Felix Anudike-Uzomah would certainly make this defensive line look a lot better. You got Jerry Hughes, you got Collins, you got Jonathan Grenard, but this defensive line can get a lot better. Grade Mel Kiper's mock draft. Again, he had C.J. Stroud going at number 2 overall to Houston, and then JSN number 12, and then Felix Anudike-Uzomah, the Texans pick in the second round. Grade Mel Kiper's mock draft. Type A, B, C, D, or F down in the comment section. And be sure to subscribe for more Houston Texans draft content. We're going to have more mock drafts. We're going to have more draft targets videos as well. So hit that subscribe button below. YouTube.com/TexansTV is a sublink.